Hello, friends. Mark Holmes here with my buddy Cowboy Jobu, and as always, thank you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Jobu Sports Report. Because without you guys, I certainly wouldn't be here, and I certainly wouldn't be having as much fun as I always do with you guys. Dabbas Butter, you're first. How about them Cowboys? You're always there, and I have not forgotten about you, dude. Life has just been crazy. Cowboy fans, how you doing? Marcellus, Aaron. I can't pronounce that one, but it starts with EL. Ricardo, Jackie, Dat Green, John Home, Ty Simmons, Brett Besto, Keith. Geez, you guys are rolling in real quick. Manuel, Johnny, Joey, John, Tony. Good grief. People, I want to thank you guys for joining into the Jobu Sports Report, and I am happy to report that this weekend, nothing bad happened with our Dallas Cowboys. How you doing, Sarah, Daniel, Antone? Well, okay. Let me address that starting out right now. How about the Cowboys? Normally, I would be doing the Benet Emery show along with our Monday night live streaming. And I'm actually not part of the show anymore. We decided to go in different directions. It's nothing personal or anything. It's just the show was going one way. I'm kind of doing some different stuff with the Jobu Sports Report. And it's about growing. Benet, God bless him, he, sight unseen, gave me my first opportunity. And for 3 years, it's been fantastic. You know, there's James and there's Nikki, you know, and it's been great doing that show every Monday night. But I need to focus more on growing the Jobu Sports Report and making it as big as possible because I'm really trying to focus hard on the Dallas Cowboys. So we're still good friends. We're still going to be doing stuff together and all that. Just won't be doing the show every Monday night and stuff. So it's all good. In most cases, groups grow and change. I mean, the Jackson 5 became Michael Jackson, you know. The Beatles, they broke up. So I don't know if we'll ever be anything close to anything like that. But, you know, it's just, you got to grow. So that's where it is with that situation. And they had been on break for the last month. And that was a good time to kind of start heading and focusing in on the Dallas Cowboys training camp. And can you guys believe, actually, we're going to do this one. You got to make sure Jobu gets his refill. And I got to make sure that I pour one for my homies at the Benet Emery show. Because they're kicking off right now. First show without me. So, Benet, James, Nikki, this one is for you. So, anyway, back to our Dallas Cowboys. We're in good shape. Jobu's got his refill. And we hadn't had anything bad happen with the Dallas Cowboys this weekend. And can you believe only 9 days? 9 freaking days. Tomorrow it'll only be 8 days. And the rookies will be reporting on the 19th. And they'll be headed to Oxnard next week. And I just can't believe it. It's like, it's been a long off season, but it seems like it was just a Super Bowl. And I can't wait. I am excited. I'm just like, I can't even speak. I'm that happy about it. Now, I want to know, a lot of you people that are in here, I know, Sarah, you're actually in Texas. How many of you guys are actually in LA or in the California area that may be going to training camp? So show of hands or message and things like that. Because it's looking pretty likely that me and Jobu are going to be taking the road show to training camp in August. And possibly at the LA Rams game. So I want to know if there's any interest in having like a tailgate at the Rams game, because I would love to start off the preseason training camp and the show with you guys, with some of you guys there, and do a live stream from that. Now, we may end up having Law Nation. Law Nation and I are going to be doing more shows and stuff together, and we may even possibly, we're working on it. I shouldn't say this. We're working on trying to actually do a pregame show together in LA before the Ram game, which I think would be fantastic, especially if we had some of you guys there with us. So, shots of good old rum, cigars, chicken wings, and the Dallas Cowboys. And I got to tell you, I can't think of anything better than that. So, how's everybody doing tonight? You live in Arizona, Fort Worth. Should I go back to Austin? I can go to LA. Arizona is awesome. It's amazing. Yeah, welcome, Giant fans, Eagle fans, and all that. I applaud you guys for showing up on the show week after week. I appreciate it. Now, I want to know from you guys, honestly, okay? I talk a lot of trash and things like that. And a lot of people will say I'm a homer, but I'm trying to honestly tell you what I see about my Dallas Cowboys. And when I talk about the Giants, the Redskins, or all that, it's not because I'm trying to be a hater. I'm trying to be realistic about what I see. I know the New York Giants have a great defense, but I think Eli Manning is going on the downside of his career. He's a turnover machine. And I got to tell you, between him and your running back situation and your offensive line, I don't think your offense is going to do that good. It's truly going to rely on the defense. That's not necessarily a bad thing, but I still think that they're going to be kind of at 8-8 team. Now, I want to know what you honestly feel about your team. And the same thing for any Redskins or Eagles guys that are out here. The amazing thing is I found out that Carson Wentz's jersey, he's number 8. I'm surprised on that one that many people want to wear that ugly-ass green jersey. But, of course, Dak and Zeke, they're, I think, 2nd and 3rd or 3rd and 4th, somewhere around in there. And Marshawn Lynch is number 1. I'm kind of like, okay. I guess everybody wants to see the silver and black and having, kind of a bad boy in there. I guess that kind of makes sense. I'm with you on that, Eric. Please don't retire Eli Manning because, you always like to get a couple of turnovers every week, and Eli is good for that. I didn't realize that, Jackie, that their birthdays are both there in August. As a matter of fact, my brother's is the same day as Dak, 7/29. Interesting. My daughter's is actually the 27th. So all around that same time. That's part of the reason why I'm going to Cali, be around for her birthday, and of course to see my Dallas Cowboys. You mean Carson Wentz? Ooh. Yeah. How about the Cowboys? The story about Roger Stein, that is a true story. And like I said, a lot of times I've had things happen to me that I'm just like, I can't believe that happened. And that was one of those ones that I will always remember because in that story. But the thing we don't seem to realize is this. Like I said, I've been blessed to have done a lot of things and meet a lot of different people. When we see football players or we see an actor or stuff like that, we kind of put them on a pedestal. And we don't think of them as people. They're like godlike. They're like different than you and me. But it's funny because when I first started meeting like famous people, I was like, I was scared to death. It's like, oh my God, this is Roger Staubach. But most of them act like you and me. You just want to have a conversation. And sometimes it's just about the mundane. I mean, believe it or not, they're doo-doo dusting too. And when you look at football players, just because you're a football player doesn't mean you're any different than the rest of society. If you take 1,000 people just randomly, what you're going to find is you're going to have some people who drink, some that might do some drugs, some that might do some stealing, some that might be gay, some that are black, white, grizzly gray. You have some good people. You have some people that are charitable. It's just the way it is. They're people. Well, being a football player, just because you're a football player, doesn't mean that you're not a part of that cross section. That you're going to have some idiots that are going to do some stupid stuff. You're going to have ones that are great people that are really, really intelligent. You're going to have some ones that are terrible with money and just want to party all the time. And you have other ones that realize I have a platform and I can do good with what I have. So you have to understand that there's always going to be good and bad. And we focus in on every time an NFL player does something wrong. But in reality, the chances of an NFL player doing something bad statistically is much lower than society in general. But it's magnified because of their station in life. So when how about them Cowboys? When I was in the car with Roger Staubach, what was funny is I was literally scared to death. I was just kind of like I just almost froze and couldn't drive. But after talking to him for a minute and stuff like that, and I said, I don't know where your hotel is. He said, well, why don't you ask one of those pretty girls over there? I guarantee you, she can tell us which way to go. And that kind of put me at ease and stuff. And then we started talking about the pistol offense and RG3 because RG3 had just had that fantastic rookie year. And I remember saying to Roger, I said, I think it's going to be a fad like the run and shoot or oh God. Can't even think of it now in Miami. But a gimmicky offense. I said, because in the end, I said, all you really have to do is knock the snot out of the quarterback, and he's not going to come around the corner like that anymore. And literally, I couldn't believe that I was sitting there talking to Roger Staubach about football. And we're debating on whether or not this offense is going to be legitimate. And I'm just like, I can't believe this. And in the meantime, I'm looking down, and he has his first Super Bowl ring right here. And I'm just like, oh, God. And I've got Joe Boo in a bag in the back. But I knew, my wife was like, you are not bringing Joe Boo out at this event. Understand, you're not bringing Joe Boo out in this event. So Joe Boo stayed in the bag, but we still had a fantastic time. So glad you enjoyed this story. Somebody had mentioned that I had told it before, but the main reason why I was bringing it up is because of what Dak Prescott does. Dak Prescott realizes I have a platform and I can use that power for good. When you hear about him going to this family whose father was a police officer and was slain and going through and spending time, he can't replace that father, but he can give that family some comfort and enjoyment for some times. It's something that's good that they'll always remember. And even there's a little piece on, and I'll have a video up for it later, about Dak Prescott. ESPN tries to blow it out and make it a lot bigger than what it really is. It says Dak Prescott calls out Zeke for body issue. Well, that's not exactly how it was. It was more of Dak was saying that, yeah, that's great that he's doing that, but I'm doing stuff with Procter and Gamble on Raise Rise and God, I'm having brain farts tonight. That's cancer awareness. I'm trying to do something that's bigger than me to help a whole lot of people, whereas the body issue is, okay, it's glorifying you and you got a great body. So ESPN's trying to blow that up. But what I was saying is that's Dak Prescott. Dak realizes that I'm very powerful in the position that I am. And I learned that firsthand from working with United Way. I can tell a kid or my son, I say, hey, you need to go to school, get an education so you can get a good job. Don't drop out. And it'll go in one ear and out the other. Well, Namdi, Calais Campbell, Josh Cribbs, they were in Alexandria doing an event with United Way. And they went to 4 kids at risk of dropping out of school. Knocked on the door. The guys answer, hello, I'm Calais Campbell of the Cardinals, now Jacksonville Jaguars. And I'm here to mentor you to make sure that you stay in school. All of a sudden, these kids who were dropping out of school stayed in school. And the 4 of them all went to college. That's the power of an NFL player. I could tell the kids a million times, you need to stay in school. Didn't matter. But Dak realizes that I can change people's lives. And that's what I was kind of relating that story of Roger Staubach, because Roger Staubach was there giving his time at the Hall of Fame to United Way to help others, as well as he created his own foundation and financed it himself. So I was correlating some of those great traits of Roger Staubach with Dak Prescott. So I really like that. Now, Dallas Felons. Like, you guys don't have any bad guys cruising 26. When we start talking about the autograph gate and Dak Prescott, there's emails of Eli saying, I know these aren't game used equipment. I don't care. So you guys have a guy who could have been doing some shady stuff. And we won't even bring up your kicker, who was convicted of domestic violence and even had it written out in a diary. And the only reason he's not on your team now is because of the outcry after the fact. The Giants knew when they signed him that he had problems. So don't be calling my Dallas Cowboys felons. The only reason why you hear about the Dallas Cowboys is because everybody cares about the Dallas Cowboys and everybody realizes I will get clicks and get paid if I talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Nobody cares about what happens in Jacksonville. Nobody cares about what happens in um, Tampa, San Diego. There are NFL players that are doing things far worse than anything that the Dallas Cowboys have done. Look at the Seattle Seahawks quarterback who ended up drunk driving, drugs in the car, ran into a club and hit people. Yet, where's the outcry? We won't talk about Ben Roethlisberger and the stuff he's done in the past. So, before you start calling all my Cowboys felons, pump the brakes a little bit there, buddy. My defense is on house arrest. But you know what? Cruising 26, they may be on house arrest. But you know what? My Cowboys got you on that opening game, buddy. They got you. We will see what happens. You're going to think, oh, yeah, the Cowboys aren't there. Don't worry. Next man up. Yeah, there you go, Juan. The Giants spent $150 million on a defensive line, and they really need to do some work on their quarterback. But, hey, we'll see what we're going to see real soon. Thank you, Christian. I appreciate all the love. True Blue, how are you doing tonight? Levi, Dabs Butter, Marcellus, Vito. Cruising is a fool, talks too much shit. Hey, what's happening, Victor? Victor, man, you know what? Victor, if you guys haven't seen Victor, Victor is hilarious. He's a comedian. Check out his YouTube channel. Dude is funny as can be. When you see some of his videos of like Eagles fans when they've lost and crying and everything else, I meant to have him on here when Tony Romo retired. And if you, I've got to get you on here, definitely live streaming in. But if you haven't checked out his channel, definitely subscribe to it because once the football season starts, you're going to be seeing some stuff that will have you rolling. EDP could start for Philly. Okay. Yeah, I agree with you on that one, Corey. The Dallas Cowboys are definitely getting younger, and that's a good thing. When you look at where the Dallas Cowboys were, say, 4 years ago, we were actually one of the older teams in the NFL, and literally in the last 2 years, we've kind of really turned over that whole roster. We were looking at last year going into the season, is the window closing because of Tony Romo? And if Tony Romo couldn't stay healthy, what was the next option? We saw what we had when we had Brandon Wheaton and Matt Castle. It's kind of like, oh my God. And when Tony Romo went down, honestly, guys, how did you think the season was going to go? Did you honestly think that we have a chance to even make the playoffs or even have a winning record? Hey, Mark, still crazy as a fox. Okay. We were blessed. We were truly blessed with Dak Prescott. I know some people out there that still aren't sold on him, but the dude is a baller, without a doubt. Zeke will, well, Francis Washington, that's going to be a tough thing to do for Zeke to win the rushing title 2 years in a row. We haven't had anybody do that in a long time, but I think with the offensive line we have and the offense we have, I think he's got a good shot. Because there's a difference between when you look at Adrian Peterson. Adrian Peterson never really had a great quarterback or passing game to go along with it. Hence, it was always AP, and that's it. That's the whole offense. When you looked at Chris Johnson, same thing. It was just straight pound the rock offense. You weren't getting much play action pass. You weren't getting any deep threats and things like that. The thing I love about this offense, and people will say that Dak Prescott doesn't go deep. He's a dink and dunk quarterback. This is a ball control passing offense. And by that I mean it's not predicated on solely controlling the clock by running the ball. When you looked at Minnesota when AP was good, it was a ball control offense because basically we're just going to run the ball and we're going to run out the clock. But the Cowboys are able to use their passing game like a short running game as well. When you hit Cole Beasley going across in the slot, that's keeping the ball in bounds. He's hitting the guy in stride. You're picking up 8, 10, 12 yards, and it's continuing to make that clock run. And that's the best thing that you can do for your defense. Now, I'm hoping that for the first time in a long time that our offense gets some help from the defense as opposed to it always being the other way around. If we could just start getting some pressure and start getting some turnovers make all the difference in the world. It makes it that much easier for your offense because the other team's defense is running in, short notice, not ready, and you've got the ball, you've got the momentum, you've got the crowd behind you, and all of a sudden, boom, before you know it, you've got some points. We didn't get that last year. We didn't get that the year before. It was even worse. The year before that, we were fantastic, and next thing you know, we were in the playoffs. So turnovers are key. Sacks are key, and that's what we have to get. Now, the question I put on an earlier video was to you guys. Your general manager, you're Jerry Jones. What move would you have made differently? Or what move would you still make now? Because I think the Cowboys have done the most that they could with what they had. At first, we didn't have a whole lot of money to be able to spend on free agents. And generally speaking, the big name free agents don't always pan out. Usually they're gone within 2 years, leaving behind a big salary cap hit. The one guy I wish that we could have done something with, congratulations to you, Calais, getting married this weekend. Welcome to the honeydew list club. Would have been a Calais Campbell. Calais is a mountain. Calais is a war daddy. Calais is a great guy on and off the field. That would have been the move that I would have made differently because I, being a defensive lineman, believe football is won in the trenches. That's me. Matt, goodbye, Jason Garrett. We're not going to go there with that because we've got Jason Garrett. We're all going to love Jason Garrett. We're going to put our support behind Jason Garrett. We're going to put good vibrations and good mojo out for Jason Garrett. We're not going to think negative thoughts. We're going to forget about what happened in the past, and we're going to look to the future. Because this is a new season. It doesn't matter what happened in the past. We're looking forward, and we're going to be positive. So, Jason P., we ain't got no choice. We have to give him this year. And then we'll see what we see at the end of the season. So, no more Jason Garrett bashing. No more Dallas Cowboy bashing. We need to be now behind the 53 guys that are going to be on that final roster. And we need to support them. We need to cheer them on. We need to be behind them and help. Believe me, thinking positive helps. Alan Sheets, I will agree with you. Time for Jason to man up. Boy, these are flying through. We got so many people here, it's hard to keep up. Would I place Jason Garrett in the same as Wade Phillips? Well, Christian, I'll be honest with you. When Wade Phillips was fired, I wanted Jason Garrett gone there too because Wade Phillips really took care of the defense. Jason Garrett took care of the offense. But we're not putting negative vibes out there. We are behind Jason Garrett and the Dallas Cowboys 9 days before the rookies report. We're going to think positive. We should invite the Facebook page, Dallas Cowboys, HN. I don't know what the HN stands for, but sure, invite them. I guess, are they in Cali? Keith, I'm with you. I'm hoping that Taco is going to end up being good. I at least feel, here's the thing. I feel like we have some really good parts on our defensive line. I think Taco, it's going to take him some time because he's a rookie. And generally speaking, you don't have Reggie White coming out as a rookie. I think he's going to be good. I think DeMarcus Lawrence may surprise some people this year. He's looking actually healthy, and he's looking like he's in much better shape than he was going into last season. I'd like to see what Stephen Paya does. Stephen Paya had a lot of success with Rod Martinelli. when he was in Chicago, before he went to the dumpster fire that is the Redskins, and before he went to Cleveland. So you can't really count those two because who really does good in either of those places? I'm interested to see how he does. Tyrone Crawford, the shoulder is healed, and if it can stay healed, when he's been healthy, he's shown lots of flashes. David Irving missing the first 4 games, that's going to hurt, but I think he can still come back and do some damage. I feel good about him. Collins, he's quietly played fantastic last year, and in the middle, he can be a beast. Now, there's other guys that may be cut, like Thornton may not make it on the team, um, and some of the other ones. And we also don't know what we have in Tapper. If Tapper is as good as advertised, and although this is really his rookie year since he missed all last year, you could have a good rotation. But I still feel like you still need that one guy that in the beginning of the week, when coaches sit down with the quarterback and the offensive line, they say, we've got to double team him. We can't let that guy beat us. Because when you have that guy over there and they are focused on them, when he takes up 2 guys, that makes it that much easier for the other ones. So that's where I keep thinking that you still want to have that one guy that puts the fear in the quarterback. Maybe one of the guys we have will be able to step up and become that, because what I always say is they aren't somebody until they become somebody. The big name free agent doesn't become the big name free agent out of the box. He ends up developing and becoming that guy. So we'll have to wait and see who that guy is. And like I said, I can't wait. I'm just more excited than you can really believe. Mario Williams has been a good player over the years, but I think Mario Williams is done. And I agree with you, Keith. You know, we play a lot of good quarterbacks this year. I mean, we've got Matt Ryan. There's Eli Manning, who has a lot of weapons. You got Kirk Cousins, who I believe just got his new contract, although he lost 2 of his weapons. You're going to end up having Aaron Rodgers always. You're going to have Russell Wilson. You're going to have Derek Carr. So we have a lot of good quarterbacks we're going to face. And we've got a lot of young guys who are going to be playing. So when you start looking at that, the best thing you can do to try and help them out is having a pass rush. So let's hope that we can have something happen there. But I still don't believe that the Dallas Cowboys are finished signing people. I think they're taking a wait-and-see attitude. They're going to take some of that money that they have, that $17 million, and get Zach Martin taken care of long-term. But that'll still leave about $10 million. Now, some other guys are going to want to tie up during the season and so on, but you can sign them to team-friendly deals where they're really not costing you a whole lot. I still think there may be somebody that gets cut, a veteran that's still got some tread on those tires, so to speak, that the Dallas Cowboys say, you know what, we're going to bring him in for a workout and we're going to sign him. But it won't be right away. It'll be closer to the season, because then it doesn't cost you necessarily a guaranteed contract for the season. Plans for Sandman. Do me and Jobu have a game plan for tailgating and other events? Well, I don't have it yet, but actually the Mojo Jar, that's actually going towards doing different events and stuff with us. If we're at the Rams game, we're definitely going to probably be doing something. I don't know how many people are actually going to go to that game, but that's kind of like our preseason to kind of figure out what we're going to do. But as we get to some of these other games and stuff, that'll be regular season games. I'll gauge the interest from you guys on how many of you guys may be there, and we'll definitely have a tailgate where we're getting some wings, we're getting some tacos, and all of that stuff, and we're going to have basically a pre-game party that we will live stream before the game. So we'll get our live updates from the games with you guys, to all you guys who can't be there. So that's what I'm looking for. At least that's my dream. So this is like a preseason tryout for my dream. There's so many people in here. Did I miss the super? Oh man, I'm sorry. Let me see. Oh damn. One hell of a guy. I apologize on that because there's so many people here tonight. I got to double up on the super chats um, because the stream is just flying through, and I apologize for missing you guys on that super chat. Let me see what the questions were. How about the Cowboys? Should we look at Mario Williams? I really don't think he's going to have much left on the tank. To be honest with you, how about the Cowboys? Um, he's got a lot of miles, so I'm not saying that. I mean, it's worth a look, but kick the tires and see what he's got. But I don't think he has much left. Mr. Cowboy, I want to hear I want to hear your idea of a dual salary cap system. Yeah, I'd like to hear that one. A dual salary cap system? That's a new one on me. Okay. Definitely explain your idea on that one. And I apologize for missing those super chats. Normally I see them up on the screen, but because my eyes are old, I've kind of blown it up and I've got like 3 screens that are up. So it's kind of hard to see everything that goes on. And for those of you who are new here, I'm old, technology challenged, and I've been learning as I've been going on. So this is like on the job training as far as doing a show, because I am literally a one-man show. I have a computer that's in front of me that's actually doing the live stream, and I've got all the comments that are flying through there. Trying to look at the cameras, and of course shift from one camera to the other, as well as when Skype calls come in, I have to go ahead and pop that on there. So forgive me when I miss stuff on there. Yeah, the Dallas Cowboys definitely, saying, man, have the hottest cheerleaders. Um, don't hate, celebrate our victory. There you go. Des will have to shut down. We'll have a shutdown season for folks who say he's great and that's cool. He'll be ready for the challenge. Stay encouraged, Des. Okay, he knows what he needs to do. Well, Jackie, I think that this year is going to be a big, big year for Des. One, having a full off season where he's healthy. Um, he hasn't had that in quite a while. 2, when you look at how his season went from him being hurt and just kind of working with Dak and not having big games, if you look at his numbers, he had his highest per catch average in his career, 17.2, towards the end of that season. And I look for Dak and him to basically take off from that point forward. When you think about last year training camp and OTAs, Dak Prescott was not getting very many reps. He was the third string quarterback. Like I say, end guard tackle. He was sitting at the end of the bench. He was guarding the water bucket, and he was tackling anybody who got near it until Kellen Moore got hurt, and then until Tony Romo got hurt. So you didn't have all that offseason work that you had this year. And what people don't realize, since the collective bargaining agreement, there's only 12 padded practices in training camp. Back in my day, we had about 40 of them. So there's not a whole lot of time where you're actually working with guys with a lot of play. The morning practice is basically a walkthrough. The afternoon one is a padded one, but they don't tackle to the ground. They don't really hit like they used to. So there wasn't a lot of time for those two to get on the same page. But it started working as the season went on. And I look for that with Dak and Dez working out along with the other receivers on their own, as well as the OTAs and the mini camps, that those guys now are on the same page, that they know each other a lot better than they did before, because basically they were just coming in cold. And that's going to bode well for the team in general, because when you look at where we've been with Tony Romo over the last few years, Tony Romo has had days off in training camp. He's had coming back from injury where he's not really playing in preseason or even working out in training camp. He's basically showing up week 1 and playing. But having all these guys working now together means that they're going to hit the ground running, where we normally kind of start off slow. And that's the thing to be excited for. So cruising, you might not want to talk too much smack, because this Dallas Cowboy team, every single one of those guys was in working out all offseason, ready to roll. Yes, we're going to be missing Nolan Carroll, but guess what? Nolan Carroll wasn't with us last year. Yes, we're going to miss David Irvin, but guess what? David Irvin didn't become a factor till the end of the season. Okay? And of course, Damian Wilson, when we played you guys early on, Damian Wilson only has 39 tackles in his career. So, yes, we're going to have some guys that we're going to miss that we were looking for having a prominent role. But guess what? We got other guys that are around there to help take up the slack. If Jalen Smith is the real deal, I'm not saying that he's going to be ready to start that first week, but he will probably be doing some playing. He may give you a hell of a lot more than Damian Wilson. Now, as far as David Irvin goes, hey, we got Taco that's also over there. We got Stephen Paya that's there. We've got Collins that's there. We've got pass rushers. We got DeMarcus Lawrence. We've got Tyrone Crawford. So don't worry about us. Maybe you might worry about your own team. Oh, we had 26 points combined against you. You know what? And Eli Manning should have had 6 turnovers in that second game because he literally threw it in the guy's hands. And they were so surprised. Oh, my God. He didn't really just throw me the perfect pass. He threw better to our defensive backs than he did to his own receivers, buddy. So let me stop paying so much attention to him. I'm getting okay. Well, you go right ahead and have fun with that one, cruising. Andrew, biggest off-season surprise so far? Well, it's still a little early to say what the biggest off-season surprise is, but
one hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
it's still a little early to say what the biggest off-season surprise is. Well, no, I tell you what the biggest off-season surprise is. The biggest off-season surprise is how much the Jobu Sports Report has grown in this time period. Because I got to be honest with you, I'm just hoping that I can hold on to the Jobu Sports Report until training camp gets here. But you guys have been incredible and fantastic, and it's grown like crazy. So that's the biggest surprise to me. Now, however, the most pleasant surprise for me so far is seeing the progression of Jalen Smith, where we went from Christmas, where they are basically figuring that, okay, we're going to try and see if we can play him, and he will have a brace, and the nerves may never fire, to him all of a sudden getting movement in that foot and things. And I'm interested to see, now that we've had basically the time off between minicamp and stuff, this 4 weeks, how much development that foot did, how much more nerves regenerated. To me, that could be the game changer for the Dallas Cowboys if they have him. If he becomes the linebacker that he was in Penn State. I'm sorry, God. I'm thinking about Sean Lee. With him and Sean Lee put together, you all of a sudden could have the best linebacking core in the division. If you can get a pass rush to go along with that, all of a sudden your opportunity to make a Super Bowl with that offense, if it stays healthy, is pretty damn good. And I hear Michael, my son, the huge Dallas Cowboy fan, who has a bad cold right now. So that would be my biggest surprise. Why would you keep J.J. Wilcox? Well, experience. Who would I like to see as Dak Prescott's backup quarterback? Well, we already have Dak Prescott's backup quarterback. It's Tony Romo. I've stated this before. Some of the talking heads and stuff have done. Do you honestly believe, with Tony Romo's contract that has an out in it, that he can return to football without a penalty, that if Dak were hurt for an extended period of time, that Jerry Jones wouldn't call up Tony Romo and say, Tony, I got a team for you that's ready to go to the Super Bowl? In fact, it was my conclusion that this was all preordained. When the CBS offer came up, I guarantee Jerry said, hey, look, Tony, I need the cap relief, son. If you want to have a chance to win that Super Bowl, why don't you go ahead and take that CBS job? And I'll release you. I'll get that cap relief that I so need. And if Dak Prescott fails, if he slips in any way, if he gets hurt, you know you're going to be my first call. And I guarantee you, if Dak Prescott got hurt in training camp, during the season, was out for the year, Tony Romo will be back with the Dallas Cowboys. You can bet your last dollar on that one. So that is the Dallas Cowboys backup quarterback. Um, explain it. Law Nation. Okay. Wait a minute. Oh, that explains it. Law Nation and Lisa Mark Holmes has it on a show regularly now. Okay. Um, thoughts on this? Well, um, I love doing this. This is for fun for me. Okay. I've always liked to talk about football. Um, my son will attest to that. Although it's usually kind of in one ear and out the other. I was like, oh, here we go again. But I've always enjoyed talking about football. It's been a passion of mine since I was a little kid. Um, I feel like I've got a little knowledge and I enjoy doing it. Although speaking in public was not one of my strong suits. In fact, any of you guys that went to high school with me will attest to that. That I would basically stutter. My voice would get high. I'd speak real quick. I'd do a 5 minute speech and it would be like 30 seconds. And the teacher was like, "You still got 4.5 minutes to go." But I enjoy this. I enjoy you guys going to the draft and meeting people and things like that was fantastic. Um, talking with Law on the show, it's just like I'm talking to my best friend and things. And we're talking about my favorite subject, football. So for me, it's like icing on the cake. If it ever becomes anything bigger than what it is right now, hey, that's great, that's wonderful. But I'm satisfied with what it is right now, and that is making it the best sports show that I can put on. So yeah, Law Nation, we're planning on doing a whole lot of stuff together. He is fantastic. He's got that great voice and everything else that I wish I had, and he's got a lot of knowledge and stuff. And by teaming up and doing some stuff together, I think it'll be fantastic. And in fact, shout out to Shango because he watched one of the videos where I was talking about that we're planning on doing some really great stuff, and he's like, "Hey, include me in there." So, what would be cooler than for us to have a round table? Doesn't necessarily have to be round; it could be a square or rectangular table. But having a round table at a game, live streaming, Shango, Law Nation, and me all together with the Dallas Cowboys on a Sunday, especially after a big. Let's think big. Let's think really big. How about we're talking about playoffs? Are you kidding me? Playoffs? We're talking about playoffs. How cool would it be to be in Dallas? And I'm going to put this out in the universe because I believe for stuff to happen, you have to put it out in the universe. To be in Dallas, playoffs with a big victory and having a post game tailgate show. It would be freaking unbelievable. So, Shango, if you're watching, mark it down. Law Nation, if you're watching and got your daughter in bed, mark it down because I can't think of anything better because I could see a couple hundred of you guys here together, all joining us in that pregame stuff. And I dare say we could rival some of the ESPN shows. Um, well, Darren Woodson, you know what? Darren Woodson is not talked about as one of the great safeties in the NFL, but when you think about him being the all-time leading tackler of the Dallas Cowboys and having the rings, he should be in the Hall of Fame, and he should be talked about as one of the all-time great safeties. And it's a tragedy that they don't. What? Did I just bump my head? Cruising? You're saying that your Giants will miss the playoffs? Now, come on, man. It's still early. Don't give up hope now. Chuck Baby, how you doing tonight? Wayne, how you doing? Alan Sheets, Ricardo, Jesse James, Flat Earth Mexican. The Earth is flat. Okay, all right. Uh, Chrisman, 1886. Earth is a spear. Okay, he's hacked, Mark. Okay. Um, Jack Duncan. So far, Miles has been injured. They haven't even put on pads yet. It'll be interesting to see how he does. But it's kind of the curse of Cleveland. If you notice, you got Johnny Manziel, any quarterback that ever gets drafted by Cleveland. You've got running backs that just everybody. It's like Siberia, and it's just for whatever reason. Oh,
One hell of a job, and the only thing else I got to say is, how about them Cowboys?
thoughts on a dual salary cap with unlimited cap to resign team zone rookies then limited cap of $7 million for free agents. This was suggested by Mr. NFL by a super chat I missed. Wow, that's interesting thought. Um, Thank you. I apologize. Mr. NFL. This setup was changed a little bit here, and I missed that one. So let me give you your. Um, that's an interesting thought to have a dual salary cap system. Because here's the thing that kind of bugs me when we start talking about the salary cap, because the rookies get screwed. I mean, don't get me wrong. The first couple of picks, they're getting paid. And you don't want to have a system like you had before where a guy like Sam Bradford's getting like $56 million out the bat. But when you start looking at guys who have exceeded their position, Alfred Morris was a 6th-round draft pick, and he came out and boom, all of a sudden had one of the greatest rookie years to start out with, but he's getting paid chump change. Dak Prescott is, top 5 quarterback, and he's getting paid less than some of the second and third string quarterbacks that are out there. So you kind of look at that and you say, okay, the rookies are locked in for 4 years, yet the average career in the NFL is under 4 years. So some of these guys will never reach that potential. And what happens is, let's say, hypothetically, somebody like Dak Prescott, who's getting paid, peanuts, and I know $600,000 a year is not peanuts to me and you guys, but when you think about what these guys are doing and putting on the line and what it took to get there, the odds of reaching and becoming an NFL player, when you think of about 3% of high school kids go on to play college football, and less than 0.5% of those guys make it to professional, then $600,000 is not a lot of money for what he is doing and giving up and sacrificing for his life. You have a lot of guys who could play really, really well for 3-4 years, like, say, Alfred Morris, who's played really well, and he never got that much money for what he did. But yet, he will be holding those scars for the rest of his life. So you have to wonder about, is that scale really fair? Now, Russell Wilson was fortunate that he ended up playing long enough to get to that big fat contract because he outlived that rookie one. But a lot of these guys don't. And that might be an interesting thing to kind of have a dual cap to work with your own guys as well as your free agents. But I think what most teams are learning, and you're noticing that you're not seeing those big Albert Hainsworth contracts anymore for guys, that most teams realize, hey, the best thing you can do is draft well, hold on to those guys. If they're really, really good, you sign them then for a long-term deal. If not, you let them go, but you stockpile the draft picks so you can continue to reload, because you're going to get the guy for 4 years dirt cheap. So if I can have him for 4 years, not to pay him much money, and I can draft a guy to take his place, hey, why go spend $10 or $15 million for a veteran who may only have 3 or 4 years? And as much as I hate New England, fish fool, I hope to see you at the Super Bowl. As much as I hate seeing New England in the Super Bowl year after year after year, they've got it down pat. They've learned stockpile draft picks. When a guy gets to be, I want a whole bunch more money, send him to Siberia, which is Cleveland, because you're going to get a high draft pick in return, and keep moving on. We've seen them take Pro Bowl offensive linemen during training camp and trade them to Tampa. That's how you win in football. It's not by signing big-name free agents. Ask the Washington Redskins, what have they won with all of the big names and all the cash that's went out the window? You don't. So having those rookies, those guys that are actually the ones that are really making your team, they deserve to get paid. Dak is going to be a doctor, so $600,000 is a lot of startup for him. Okay. How do you like Roger and some company? Yeah, well, yeah, you did. Staubach Realty. That's where I originally got a picture signed by Roger Staubach, because he had a real estate group Staubach Realty. They actually had one in Tyson's Corner, Virginia, here in the D.C. market, as well as locations across the country, and he eventually sold out. Um, okay, Cruising. Well, we'll see. You know what, Cruising? I bet Atlanta didn't think they were going to be making the Super Bowl last year. Arnett Smith, kiss, kiss, flower, kiss, kiss, flower. Okay. All right. So we're kissing ass. Okay. Um, Laugh out loud. NFC East will face really good defense this year, and a lot of Giants, and the Giants have no offense. I agree with you on that one. Um, how long have I had Joshua Brown? How long have I had Joe Boo, and where did I get him? Okay, well, here's an interesting story. Um, the way this actually all started was I have a friend of mine, Richard, who is a diehard Steelers fan. Richard was like, dude, he's got this real deep voice, dude. I would literally die to see my Steelers in the Super Bowl. And the Steelers are playing the Packers in Texas. And so I said, I got to do something for my best friend, Richard. So I got a terrible towel, and I figured it was going to be my flat stand. Everywhere I went, I was going to take pictures of it, and that was Richard going to the Super Bowl. But I said, wait a minute. I'm a Dallas Cowboy fan going to Texas to watch the Super Bowl. I can't show up with just a terrible towel. So I got two Dallas Cowboy towels to go with it. So that way I had two Cowboy towels and the Steeler towel. And I just started taking the places. I did the tour of the stadium, and back at that time, you could actually go in the shower, so I got them hanging on the shower curtain and stuff. We were over at the Gaylord, and Fox Sports was just finished filming with Brian Billick and some other people. And I asked them, I said, hey, is it okay if I just put the towels over here and take a picture of them? They said, yeah, hurry up. Just get it done quickly. And as I was taking the picture, I had Carmen Policy come through. I'm sorry, Eddie DeBartolo come through and says, "Oh, excuse me, let me get out your picture." And I said, "Well, hey, Mr. DeBartolo, it would actually make the picture if you took it with the towels." He's like, "What are you kidding me? A Cowboys towel? Oh, what the heck?" So he took a picture with it. And from that time forward, the rest of that trip, it was like a who's who of people getting seen and taking pictures with the towel. We were at the Ron Jaworski cigar party. So I got John Gruden. I got, Ron Jaworski with them. I got Mike from Mike and Mike, and so on and so on. So these towels became kind of famous, at least in that Super Bowl. So the next year, it was going to be in New Orleans. So I said, well, hey, let me have a voodoo theme, and maybe it'll help our Cowboys get there. So I went to Marie LeBeau's voodoo shop, and I bought a couple little voodoo trinkets. And I went to FedEx Field to try and jinx the skins and put them out there and snap some pictures. And I had an Eagles fan say, the Dallas Cowboys suck so bad that not even Joe Boo can help. And that's where the light bulb went off. So I made Joe Boo and carved him out of wood, made his body and all that, call me Geppetto if you like. And I took him to New York for the season kickoff community build, because this was a year after the Giants won the Super Bowl. And lo and behold, we did the community event. Charles Haley was there and a bunch of other NFL players. We did the community build, and we went to the game. And it was funny because I had Giants fans that were like, oh, look at the freaking Cowboy faggot with the doll. And I was like, okay, that's cool. So I'm wearing my Cowboys jersey, and I've got Joe Boo and stuff. And the guy who was sitting next to me just kept kind of looking at me. But by halftime, he didn't come back. And it was one of those games that we shouldn't have won because it was after the Giants won the Super Bowl. It was their, party, so to speak. And the Cowboys won. And by the end of the game, I had Giants fans basically going, fuck you, that damn voodoo doll. And that's when the legend of Joe Boo was born. So the following year, we were at Giants training camp. We ended up taking a picture and photobombing Victor Cruz. And Victor Cruz didn't do much salsa dancing after that point. The year after that, the Giants said, pump your brakes. He's not allowed in here. Things went south after Joe Boo showed up. So that's kind of a nutshell where Joe Boo came from and all that. Victor, I will see you soon. Thank you for tuning in, buddy. Victor, I got to get you on the show, buddy. You are just too funny not to be on here. Yeah, good luck at getting Zeke on the Giants here cruising. Dave Meggett is better. Oh wow. Okay, Mr. NFL. Um. All right. Yeah. Brett, I like that. Name one running back on the Giants that can stack up Zeke. I tell you what, you can take two or three and stack them up together, and they still won't be as good as Zeke. Um, Thank you, Jesse, for tuning in. I appreciate all of you guys being here. The show is growing like crazy, and I appreciate that. And I'm hoping that we are ready for the season as well as our Dallas Cowboys are. Um, if I email you about my idea, should help with tailgate fundraising. Yeah, Mr. NFL, I tell you what, if you go up here, this is my website, and any of you guys that like my shirts or the shot glasses, you can go on the website there and you can order one. But my email address is on there, so email me about that, Mr. NFL. Definitely love to hear your idea. Um, Zeke would be perfect for Eli and Odell. Yeah, there's not too many places cruising that Zeke wouldn't be perfect for. I mean, anybody who can run like that can fit in just about anywhere. Dak is the next Brady. Well, I'd like to see that. You know, first year was fantastic. I think he's going to continue to grow. Um, Flatter, am I paying the trolls? No, they just come around all the time. Um, Juan, that's an interesting idea, a question. Will Dak Prescott become the new Captain America? Well, I tell you what. If he takes the Dallas Cowboys to the Super Bowl, I guarantee you he'll be right up there with them because that's the bottom line. That's what you're measured in Dallas for, is did you win the Super Bowl? Tony Romo, God bless him, played some incredible games. But I can look at Danny White and say Danny White played some incredible games too. But for whatever reason, it just didn't happen. I don't know if it was the football gods, if it was just bad luck, whatever. You can't tell me that Danny White and Tony Romo weren't really great quarterbacks. It's just that the team, and it takes so much for a team to have that perfect season because it's not always the best team that wins the Super Bowl. It's the team that has the breaks, that stays healthy, and gets hot at the right time. The Giants, both times they won the last two Super Bowls, were 9-7 teams. And in fact, on one of those years, you could have taken five different games. Had a play gone differently, they would have never even made the playoffs. I'll give you an example. Playing against the Cardinals, their wide receiver in a 2-minute drill ended up catching the ball, wasn't touched, left the ball on the ground. Clearly, it was a fumble. The referees missed it. Had they called it and the Cardinals gotten the ball, they would have lost that game. They would have been 8-8 and didn't make the playoffs and thus wouldn't have made the Super Bowl. So sometimes you got to be lucky. You got to stay healthy and you got to get the breaks. And you may have a great team, you may have a great quarterback, but you just don't have all those other things that are there. Brent, I agree with you on that. It's funny because you listen to talking heads, they'll sit there and tell you that, they're going to miss, Ron Leary, they're going to miss Doug Freed, the veteran. And I got to tell you, Lyle Collins is going to end up being a lot better than Doug Freed. I think the Dallas Cowboys offensive line is going to be even better. Do I have a PO box set up to receive gifts? Actually, I need to set up one because my wife said I need to set up one because she's scared to death that some crazy stalker is going to come through and do something to our house. But yeah, I'm actually going to be doing that, Fishful. Um, so it's one of those things that when I have time, and generally speaking, I have very little time, and I'm trying to do as much work as I can now, so that way I can enjoy myself more when the season gets here. Um, Still working on the man cave here and the set and stuff. I'm going to get another computer that'll be better for live streaming and so on, better quality and things in here. Building some new cabinetry and stuff. Possibly, if I can get my wife's dust collector, the elliptical, out of here, my whole studio wall will be actually over there, which will be a better wall for doing this. So working on getting this stuff together, trying to get it all done, and by the season, hopefully, we'll be hitting the ground running. And with that said, it is 10 o'clock, and I have to be up at 4:30 in the morning to go to work. And so, as always, I want to thank all of you guys for watching, commenting, and subscribing to the Joe Booth Sports Report. I never thought that I would get this close to 11,000 subscribers, and it's all because of you guys. I can't thank you enough. And you make me want to be even better. You make me want to make sure that I've got the stories right, exact, and that I bring it to you fast, correct, and on time. So I want to thank you guys for being here with me tonight. Every week, we're just getting more and more people that are following along. So all of you that are new here, Hungry Eyes, David, Garrett, even you trolls, thank you. Teresa, Jack the Ripper, Devin, Juan, Brent. I want to Sarah. Sarah's always here. Sarah, thank you. Mr. Wright, Jam Woodward, all of you, thank you guys for joining tonight. We'll be back Friday night. And of course, if there's any news on the Dallas Cowboys, we'll be always doing that. And of course, I always do my morning video with whatever's going on because they always tell me, don't quit your day job. Have a great night, friends.